Greetings from African Renaissance TV. This is the Maternity Show with me, Fatou Darboe. And on this episode, we are celebrating the World Breastfeeding Week, of course, with Auntie Fatou from the Nutrition Unit.
Yes.
Auntie Fatou, you are welcome to the Maternity Show.
Thank you, Sona. It's a pleasure to be part of this platform today.
Thank you for honoring our invitation, and we also want to extend our thanks to the other stakeholders that make sure that women exclusively breastfeed their babies in the Gambia.
Sure.
So before we go into our discussions, Papa, we would want to understand the story behind celebrating the World Breastfeeding Week.
Okay, so I could say I'm excited to be part of this program today because I'm a breastfeeding mother and a working mother. Yeah. And also the program that I'm coordinating is related to nutrition issues, nutrition and nutrition-related issues, which breastfeeding is a key component of. Because when we talk about nutrition, we cannot go or we cannot sideline breastfeeding. It's very key, and it's one of the first thing that infant or everybody underwent through as an individual. So coming back to your question about the genesis of World Breastfeeding Week, the commemoration started way back in 1992 by a network of international individuals called the World Alliance for Breastfeeding Action. Okay. The network was established in 1991, and it aims to inform, to engage, and also anchor galvanized nutrition actions and related issues. So as Ministries of Health, UNICEF, WHO, they all endorsed the World Breastfeeding Week celebration, and also in 2018, it was also endorsed by the World Health Assembly, according to WHO network. Okay. So ever since, it's been commemorated from the 1st to the 7th of August every year, with different themes that are pertinent in that particular year, that aims to promote and protect breastfeeding across all levels. Mm-hmm.
That's nice. So talking about different teams, what team are we looking at this year, and what is the story behind it? What inspires the team?
The team for this year is Let's Make Breastfeeding and Work Worked.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So interesting.
So that is so much for the working mothers.
Yeah, working mothers and even those at home, because all the family members have a stake. Equally the employers and also the government, because we expect every breastfeeding mother to be paid on monthly basis, despite that they are on maternity leave. Okay. And also at the household level, we expect fathers, grandmothers, and also family members to help breastfeeding mothers to breastfeed their babies adequately, despite the workload at home. Because breastfeeding should be done ideally on a daily basis, on average 8 times, especially for exclusively breastfed babies. So you could see if the workload is too much on the mother and the family members are not supporting, that will not be realized. Yeah. So, and also at the workplace, we were advocating way back in 2019 for the establishment of breastfeeding rooms in all workplaces. We went to an extent of engaging all stakeholders. So this will
That was in the Gambia?
Yes.
Okay.
This will help mothers to come with their babies to work, and then the institution will provide the nannies. So they are during breaks or during short intervals, they will go in to breastfeed their babies. So you'll see it will not affect the work and as well the breastfeeding.
That's nice. Yeah. So this issue of giving 6 months maternity leave to women, where men would always argue that it's not fair. There are also fathers, they need to be given holidays here and there. But, you know, there is an inspiration behind this.
Sure.
But still, we would see that women would be given 6 months, but some of them would want to take it like a month before delivery. What happens to those babies when they're born? Because we're looking at 6 months. That means the woman would not exhaust 6 months and will still have to come back to work.
That will not be helpful, because what we are advocating is at least 6 months exclusive breastfeed. That was the purpose of the maternity leave for 6 months. So you could see if you take the leave before you deliver, sometimes due to several other issues, maybe your health conditions, so you could not continue working, you have to start taking your leave. But then what they need to do, if you deliver within a month, or you take 1 month maternity leave and then you deliver, you need to exclusively breastfeed for the remaining 5 months. So when you start working, either you go with your baby, there the need for creating breastfeeding room in workplaces comes in, or you have to express your breast milk, or you go during breaks to breastfeed your baby. But we are not compromising. Babies should not be given anything before the first 6 months of life.
6 months of life. Yeah, that's quite important. So let us also explore why this is important for a baby and, of course, for the mother, breastfeeding in general.
Breastfeeding, we all know, you might know, is very important because it's the best nutrient for the baby. Yes. It has all the nutrient, the perfect nutrient in their right proportion. Somebody would say it has the perfect balanced diet for babies. And also it has some antibodies that helps fight different types of childhood infections. And also according to WHO statistics, breastfed babies they do better in intelligence tests compared to non-breastfed babies, and also they have low risks of developing diabetes, especially type 2 diabetes at their older age, and also even the cancers, obesity. Breastfeeding enables a child to maintain its normal body size, not to be obese compared to bottle feeding and other stuffs. So, and also it's cost effective. Yeah. You don't need to pay anything. You just come breastfeed your baby, especially in our own Gambian context here. It's also safe and clean in the right temperature, in the perfect temperature. So, and also it creates bonding between the mother and the child, because you could see when you are breastfeeding, the eye contact between the mother and the child.
Yeah, and the child gets to know you first.
Yeah. So even if you're at workplace, sometimes when you feel of that love, your breast starts to contract and then the milk you start producing. So that shows the bond between the mother and the child. And likewise for the mother too, because it serves as a form of family planning, because when you are breastfeeding, most of the time you don't menstruate, or you don't see your monthly flow. So it serves as a form of family plan, and also it prevents certain forms of cancers, the ovarian cancers, the breast cancers. Breastfeeding helps in all that, and also it helps the mother to maintain the perfect body size.
Nice. So looking at the importance of breastfeeding, I believe that every woman would indeed want to breastfeed their babies. But there would come to a moment that some women, once they've given birth to a baby, generally they might lack milk, and they are not able to breastfeed their baby. What happens to such women?
You know, breastfeeding should be preconceived. It depends on the mindset.
Okay.
So this is why sometimes when we are doing our community sensitization, we don't only focus on breastfeeding mothers. We start from the antenatals, because once you are pregnant, you need to get set or prepared that when I give birth to this particular child, I'm going to breastfeed. And also, when your mindset is on it, you also need to consume diversified diets. It helps in the production of the breast milk. So it do happen. What you are saying, it do happen. So what we normally do, we encourage the mothers. Every woman can breastfeed. That's the basic reality. That's the basic fact. Depending on the size of your breast. It doesn't matter whether you have a bigger breast or a smaller breast or inverted nipple or the nipple is out. Everybody can breastfeed. So what they need to do, they need to focus and have the mindset that I'm going to breastfeed, and they will do it. And also consume diversified diets, foods that help in the production of breast milk. So you could see and they need to attach the baby properly, because sometimes it's the fear that if the baby sucks, the breast will sour.
And that's fine.
It will be painful.
But are they also advised to go in for any type of formula advised by the nurse or so?
Those are rare circumstances, and we will not dwell on that except recommended by doctors due to certain conditions by the mothers, maybe certain health conditions. So doctors may recommend otherwise. But as a ministry and as a program, we are not advocating for any bottle feeding, any formula feeding for the Gambia or for all breastfeeding mothers. Every child or every baby should be breastfed.
Nice. So let's come back to the theme of this year's celebration again. We're talking about breastfeeding should work for work, if I get it right.
Breastfeeding and work.
Okay. So what has your program with other stakeholders done so far to achieve something like this?
Yeah. As a program, since we established in 2015, we've been engaged in the field of nutrition, infant and young child feeding, and integrated management of acute malnutrition. So key of all those programs is the breastfeeding. So breastfeeding, we all know, it has 3 phases. We have the early initiation, which the percentage is very low as a country. It's about 36%, not that much impressive. So the early initiation is when the baby is put to the breast immediately after birth, but not more than one hour after delivery. And also the exclusive breastfeeding, which is about 54%, is when the baby is delivered until up to 6 months. The baby should be put to the breast exclusively. Nothing should be given to the baby.
No water, no honey that the grandmothers will try to give.
Exactly. Not even medications, except if prescribed by a doctor. And then continuous breastfeeding, because from 6 months, research have shown that the breast milk may not be sufficient for the baby because the baby is growing, so the demand for food also increases. So at that age, you have to introduce complementary feeds, but then complementary. As
that doesn't mean breastfeeding should stop.
The feeds complement the breast milk. So our program, we've been engaging communities. We had series of discussions with community structures. We have the village support groups. We have the traditional communicators, drama groups. We do engage them on some of these basic informations. More importantly, on the importance of breastfeeding, the 3 components, not to be compromised. So after the training, we expect them to go down to the communities and then disseminate the information to every mother. We also do use some other platforms like the TV, radio, and also spots on complementary feeding, breastfeeding, and its benefits for the infants and the mothers. So, and we've realized that it has yielded dividends because based on research, the rates of undernutrition has reduced and also the percentage of exclusive breastfeeding has increased.
So I was speaking to somebody some time ago, and then I realized that there is an initiative to include sort of a shelter at the farms and gardens to make sure women are catered for while breastfeeding. Or
they go with nannies, or go with somebody who can take care of the baby. That is a very good initiative, and I'm not pretty much informed about that particular development, but I could say it helps because you could see the mother sometimes when they are going to the farm, because there is no protected area for the babies, they will leave the babies at home. So when you leave the babies with the grandmothers or the family members, especially if they are not informed on the importance of breastfeeding, they will start giving other feeds and even liquid, water, etc. to the baby.
So long the baby cries, they think the baby needs something.
Exactly. So this is why when we are targeting the communities, we don't only target the mothers. That is the SBCC approach. If you want behavioral change, you have to target everybody, especially those social and behavioral change communication strategy. Especially those who has an influence over the mother. Sometimes the grandmothers have an influence over the mother, the in-laws, the husbands. So this is why we target everybody, so that when the mother is away in the farm, and maybe before she goes to the farm, the in-law will make sure that the breast milk is expressed and then left in a clean container with somebody who can take care of it and the baby. So once the baby cries, then they will start giving the breast milk. And ensure that the mother should ensure that she expresses enough before leaving, so that the baby will not need breast when she's not around and the breast milk is exhausted. And also the fathers, they need to support the mothers, because sometimes you are breastfeeding but you don't have adequate food. Diversified diet, and you don't eat that diversified diet, you will not produce much breast milk. So you could see, even if you want to express, sometimes it's very difficult. So this is why we are engaging all fathers, in-laws, other family members to support breastfeeding mothers. Because when we support the breastfeeding mothers, it means we are promoting breastfeeding, and we are also protecting our future leaders.
So it means that breastfeeding is not just on the woman as we're speaking. All right, we will take that and then go on a short break, then we will be back quickly. back from that short break. If you're joining us now, this is the Maternity Show on African Renaissance TV with me, Fatou Darboe, and on this episode we are celebrating the World Breastfeeding Week with Fatou Darboe. So Fatou, before we got out to that short break, we were looking at the importance of family engagement in terms of breastfeeding.
Sure.
So now we want to look at the general nutritional status of children. Let's say children from first day of birth down to 6 months in the Gambia.
Thank you so much, Sona. I could say the nutritional status of Gambian children has increased, being the fact that undernutrition is reducing drastically, even though it's at a rate that is not acceptable, but then we are making some headways. Like I told you earlier, we know when a child is put to breast immediately after birth, the first milk that has been given to the child, the colostrum, serves as the first immunity for the child. So it protects the child from several other disease conditions. Then you come to the exclusive breastfeeding, when the child is given only the breast milk, which is the optimal feeding for the baby for the first 6 months, containing all the nutrients needed by the baby in the right proportions, clean, safe, etc. And then appropriate complementary feeding, diversified for that matter, when you have the various food groups in a particular diet given to the child with proper hygiene practices. So obviously the well-being of the child will improve. So I could say
the nutritional status is improved.
Yeah, has improved for individuals or for children in the Gambia.
So is this across the country, or we are looking at just some specific groups? Because if you go down to the URR ends, how well are they included in this whole thing? Yeah,
it's across the country because we are working based on data, and our most reliable data are the DHS, and also the micronutrient survey reports.
The DHS is what?
Gambia Demographic Health Survey report.
Okay. All right.
So you could see most of the indicators were very bad in the rural areas, especially in CRL, the Kuntao areas, also URL and some part of LRL.
Yeah.
And most of the interventions, based on those data, most of the interventions have been taken to those regions. So you could see there might be some other factors, just like we all know as an individual, sometimes behavior change is not easy for someone to change their behaviors. So even though we do conduct series of activities or interventions within those regions, but then for individuals to change their behaviors requires rigorous activities or interventions. So yes, the activity or the program is across the entire country, because even in the urban areas we have the urban nutrition now where we target, because urban areas sometimes to demarcate or to mobilize individuals is very difficult because we don't have organized structures, especially health-wise. But then we are trying to initiate, because NANA is trying to establish a program called urban nutrition, where we target structures or wards, you might say, within the KM area, and also, I'm not sure of Banjul, but then within KM. So we are also intervening in West Coast 1, and then West Coast 2 rather, and then CRL, the URLs, LRL. And so it's across the country. All the interventions are across the country.
Nice. So we've also observed structures in rural communities. I'm not sure they're called the traditional communicators, but it's formed by NANA, especially for the baby
village support groups.
Village support groups. So their tax, basically, what is it adding to the nutritional status? Yeah,
it's not even, the group is not utilized by NANA alone, even though they established the group. So we all use the village support group. And I could tell you, when you go to any community, you ask them about information on basic nutrition, you'll be surprised. They are well informed because they've been engaged in series of trainings by the Minister of Health and NANA. And also they helped, because anytime you have a newborn baby within the community, we expect them to do step-down training in every community. So anytime there's a newborn baby or anytime somebody has delivered, you have to go and give health talks. That's and nice. Also in collaboration with the village health worker. So their role is very key. And they also sometimes the workload and the work overlapped, because part of the VSG, you may have the traditional communicators, which are our structures, and part of the traditional communicators, you might have the VSGs, but they work collaboratively, and their work is very key. In every community where you have the VSGs, there are improved indicators for nutrition.
That's nice, because the fact that these people are individuals from their own communities, people would want to accept what they're telling them.
Sure.
So I like the fact that you guys, you're engaged in advocacies to address nutritional issues. But among your approaches, is there anything that has to do with providing nutritional support for these women? Like maybe form of a guardian, because if you said in your speech, if women are not taking good nutrition, probably they will not be able to breastfeed their babies with the right amount of breast milk they need.
Yeah. Our program, we are not focusing on those aspects, but I know Nana is intervening in those areas, because when you say nutrition, it's a collaborative effort. No single person can do it. You do this part and another agency will do that part. But then we also do complement in a way, because we do give ration to pregnant and lactating women, ration like food ration sort of.
Okay. That's a dukula.
Dukula, yes.
Yes.
To the under 5s and pregnant and lactating women to support them during that period of breastfeeding.
Okay.
And that one is being funded by WFP. But that one too is helping a lot, because you could see most of the breastfeeding mothers and the the pregnant mothers sometimes, due to several other issues, might be undernourished, because we have a way of determining or measuring their nutritional status. So by giving them those rations, it boosts their nutritional status, and they'll be able to breastfeed, because the diet is diversified.
Okay.
It has several food components.
Nice. So I admire the work that you do, because nutrition is everybody's business. So what would you identify as your challenges, and how would the different stakeholders come into play to make sure your work is done easily?
Yeah, as a ministry, we have some challenges, because funding is a problem. Because looking at the importance of nutrition is everybody's business. But sometimes we have funding gaps that hinder our implementation activities, because as a ministry we expect government to step in. Even for this ration distribution, it should be across the entire year, but then we are not receiving, funds are not forthcoming, except if donors chip in.
So that means it has stopped already?
Yes.
Okay.
It has not stopped per se, but then since the beginning of this year, we haven't started anything. So we are anticipating to start by next month, because the rations are already in the field. And also UNICEF, they are helping a lot, because all the nutrition interventions are being funded by them, being the VSG trainings, and also radio and TV spots, the commemoration of World Breastfeeding Week, nutrition, several other activities that we undertake are funded by UNICEF and sometimes WFP. So we are very much grateful to them, and also to FAO. So part of our challenge to, we could say, mobility, because you don't expect officers to move from region to region without vehicles or roadworthy vehicles, I could say. But as a unit, we are not provided with any. All the vehicles that we have been provided by UN agencies. So this is why we cannot thank them enough. Nice. And also, as a unit, sometimes we intend to establish or do several other activities, but sometimes, the UN agencies, they have some areas of interest. Yeah. So even if we want to do this particular activity, if it is not their area of interest, they will not fund. So this is why we are advocating for ministry and government to help fund nutrition, so that we are able to contribute more in advancing the nutritional status of Gambians.
Yeah, I mean, nutrition is all what it takes for us to have a, you know, a good living condition and all whatnot.
Sure.
Time is not going to permit us to say a lot of other things as we intended to, but before I let you go, I would want you to talk to the people. Tell them what you would want them to know or understand, or how would they be able to help you in improving the nutritional intake of babies.
Yeah, very important, Sona. I hope this message goes as far as possible. When you say breastfeeding, it should be everybody's responsibility.
Yeah.
So I will start with the mother first. Despite the workload, you should not compromise breastfeeding. No. If you are at home, you are at workplace, but you should create time for your baby. Because if you compromise that, it means the health of the child will be compromised, and you will end up visiting hospital or health centers for treatment, which might not be helpful. And also to the family members, the in-laws, the grandmothers, the husbands, the employers, they need to help mothers. Because sometimes we find it very difficult to do the two together, work and breastfeeding. So if
breastfeeding is its own world.
Exactly. So once you breastfeed, you are even producing a lot of energy. Some people don't know. They feel when you are sitting on one place breastfeeding, you are not doing anything, but you are producing, or you're producing some sort of energy. Yeah. So that one can even make you exhaustive. So let them reduce the workload on breastfeeding mothers, at least at workplaces. After the maternity leave, if they can allow work mothers to close by too, that will be fine.
But would you also want to agree with me that maybe the 6 months is kind of too small for women? It can be extended.
It has to be based on evidence, because the 6 months is based on the evidence for exclusive breastfeeding. That is, the period is 6 months. So if we want an extension, that one we have to have a rigorous discussion around that. And give,
I mean, but this year's team is focused on something like that. It's purposely for working mothers. So it could be, let's say...
Government have to look into that.
Yeah.
And they need to approve.
Okay.
Yeah.
We are not going to talk much about that, but I know if the team is focused on that,
that'll be fine.
Okay.
At least 8 months.
Exactly, something like that. Because if it's 6 months, the woman is starting the holiday before the
2
delivery.
months before the,
exactly. So one more is left.
8
it
months.
becomes difficult.
I hope they are hearing so that they can extend for us 8 months. And I hope the male folk will not be jealous of us.
No, they will not.
And they're also enjoying the paternity leave. 10
days.
Yeah, courtesy of the woman.
So they will always say 10 days is kind of small for them.
What they will say.
All right, Auntie Fatou, we want to take this opportunity to thank you so much for joining us on this episode to celebrate every woman that is taking her time to breastfeed her baby. And we want to dedicate this piece to them, that you're all warriors, and we encourage you to continue to breastfeed your babies. And we will draw our curtains here, but before we go, we will just want to remind you that this show is open for sponsors and partnership. Until we come your way next time, bye from us.